Hello and welcome to hobby vlog number 107. It's been a normal week for me, a little bit more normal and a lot more productive. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a longer video than last week's, but also really enjoyable. I've been picking up a few other projects, started the Encounter Terrain, got back to the dinosaur boat, which I know some of you are really enjoying and you'll be very pleased to see that progress. And also had some very exciting deliveries arrive as well. So this is going to be a very short intro because there's quite a lot to watch. I really hope that you enjoy it. Please do let me know in the comments below what you think. And yeah, I will hopefully see a comment from you, and I will definitely see you at the end if you watch all of it. This is now totally dried and secure and isn't pulling away anymore, which is exactly what I want. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to start working on the air dry clay, which I'm going to put around each of these edges. And I just thought I'd talk through how I'm going to do it, probably most of this off camera because it's just going to be repetitive, but at least you can understand what some of the thinking is. I'm going to do the air dry clay on this top step first, and then I'm going to weight down the sides again like I did before to make sure that that doesn't pull anything up. And then what I'm going to need to do is it's going to take time, and that's one of the things that sometimes you apply to prevent warping is time. So I will then do air dry clay from here to here and from here to here. So do those two back bits, and I could even do that at the same time to be honest, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do the top first, and then I'm going to weight down here, here, here and here, and that will prevent any warping from this air dry clay. Leave that for a couple of days. There's going to be a couple of days between each of these processes, and then when that's fully dried I can do the strip of air dry clay down here, and I'll be able to weight here and here because this air dry clay will be dry. And then that will prevent all the warping from that as well. So I'm just going to have to go like that. I don't think there's any other way around it. But once that clay is dried, it shouldn't then warp with the painting or what have you because it will be pretty solid. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Air dry clay, get the same roller, the same kind of like I've got a smaller one. I think someone asked me in the comments whether I had a smaller cobblestone roller. I do. So I'll use a smaller cobblestone roller and get that done. And then when it's finished, when I'm probably halfway through, I'll try and film again. But yeah, so I'll just make use of that and do all of this top one with the air dry clay, and then it'll be a case of painting it and we're done. So, and it's not warped. I mean, it's not warped at all now, which is just great. It's quite heavy, but that's fine. It means it doesn't get knocked, and it's going to look really good on the tabletop. So yeah, let's get applying some air dry clay. I've done the first one, and now I'm basically going to do exactly the same thing for this one. So air dry clay around the new area here, and then I'll put it back over to that end of the bench with the big weights and weight it down, and then it'll be a case of painting and then cutting out. So yeah, same process. Air dry clay, I've got some scraps here, so PVA glue, press the air dry clay onto it and then leave it to dry. So I'll get that done, and this one will probably get finished first, funny enough, because the other one, as you've seen, is going to need to be done in stages. This one I can do the whole lot now because I have offcuts. I have access here to put weights on. You can see it's not warped at all in the middle. There's something actually uneven under there, I think. So yes, it's not warped at all. So yeah, keep it weighted down, and that will now continue to be good and become a really nice centerpiece for my table. So yeah, get that done. And I will show what it looks like when I'm about to start painting. What I've realised is if I don't start this, and I have been putting it off because it goes against my natural inclination to just wing it, if I don't start this, then I'll never get it done. So I'm going to put the camera on for a bit, I'm going to play around. This is probably going to take me quite a while. But my basic idea, my initial plan is to make use of this wire here. Get a small drill, or maybe even just a bradawl or something like that, so that I can push the wood. This will go, the little wire will go into the wood, and then I can use it to support and hold the ship. As you can see, probably not very well because where my hand is, there we are. So you can hold the ship at the angle and floating like this. So I'm probably going to need to put a wire in here and a wire back here, at least two, maybe two wires here, and maybe even another one at the front under here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start working out where the wires are going to go, and what I'm thinking I can do is, because I'm going to have like clouds and what have you, I can hide any of the wire that goes above with potentially cloud looking things, but I can also potentially on this one, which can be coming up here, I can have my pterodactyl attaching to the same wire. So those are the sort of things I'm thinking of. Whether I do it like that, maybe even better, but those are the sort of things that I'm thinking of and how I'm going to try to do it. So this is going to be quite a convoluted and slow process. Like I said, I will run the camera a bit just so you can see some of the steps I'm going through, but it'll probably end up taking me a couple of nights and a lot of effort to get this positioned. And once I've got the ship in place, which obviously also includes the dinosaur, which is going to be even more complex because it's far harder for me to hide the dinosaur being supported than it is to hide the behind the ship. But I think I can probably do it. I want the dinosaur to be something like this. It's going to be coming over the front of the display, which isn't ideal, so I might need to move everything back a little bit. But I can potentially put a support in under here, which won't be too obvious, particularly if I put some clouds underneath. So yeah, so once I've got these two in place, then I can start to really plan out the rest of it and get the whole diorama done. I just need to start, so I'm just going to start. So that's actually worked pretty well. I'm quite surprised. But I can balance the ship on these three and it works all right. I'm not going to do it on camera now because it'll probably all collapse and go wrong, but I can. So what I'm now going to try and do, and this is where this is now going to take days because I'm going to have to do this in stages, which I'm really bad at, I've got to be patient, is I need to put these two perfectly upright. So I'm working out, because the smallest drill bit I've got is 1 mil. And these are 0.5 mil. I don't have 1 mil thick wire, which would have been even better. I might have actually if I strip back some electrical cable. That might have some 1 mil. That was a thought. I might look at that, but I'll go and look at that after I've filmed this clip, because if I can't find some better wire, and obviously if I do, then I'll be able to measure and do the bending without having to do all the difficult kind of juggling. I'm going to need to get something which is going to be able to go off and hold a little bit of be a bit more structural, a bit more rigid. I can potentially use wood filler. That could work. But what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to go with milliput, which is really good for this sort of thing, I think, and should work well. So what I should be able to do is pack the milliput into the hole and then poke the this in when it's slightly gone off, and then so it goes off quite quickly, and then leave it overnight. And when I've got these two in, then I'll be able to come along and get this set in place at exactly the right angle, because unfortunately I did screw up slightly, and this isn't exactly horizontal below where I want it. I had a slight problem with parallax, I think, when I noted down where to drill. So I'm going to see if I've got any 1 mil copper, and see if that's going to work. If not, I'll make up some very small amount of milliput, put it into these two holes, and then when that's nearly gone off, I will then insert these and use my 90-degree things. I've got various items just on the shelf above my working. I always have things to hand if I can, and I've got these two as well, so I can clamp and make sure everything's 90 degrees, leave it overnight, and then in the morning come along and I'll be able to do the next step. And that next step will be putting this in place and putting a final one in at the back, then milliputting them in place, and then I will start to work on the actual on the dinosaur that's going to be coming over here. But first impressions, this is going to work. It's not going to be massively strong, but I think that I might put another couple in as well. With enough distributed, I think it's going to be easily supporting that weight, as long as I'm not going around and being clumsy. Those of you that know me know that that's going to be the problem. So last time I was painting, which was a few days ago, I've not been painting as much as I should be, but I'm going to try and get back into it again. But anyway, last time I was painting, I set the camera up and I had it perfectly positioned. I did a great job of keeping everything in shot, and then when I finished, I found I hadn't actually hit record, which hasn't happened to me for a very long time. I changed the timeout on the camera so that it stayed on without turning itself off automatically, so that I could even more easily set up overhead shots, and forgot that I had done that, and therefore I thought it was recording, and yeah, footage not captured, not lost, just not captured. So here is the state that I got to. I thought that what I'll do then instead is just report back at the end of each session rather than doing a proper painting video. I can tell you what paints I used, if I can remember. The skin tone is actually the Japanese World War II, which is a Japanese uniform, World War II, which is one I really like a lot. And then I went for a, and then I think it's the red. Yes, it was Cavalry Brown is the red. So those are the two colours that I used so far to get that effect, and I'm really liking it. I think it looks really good at the moment. So I'm about to do my 20 minutes now, and so I'll report back at the end of this 20 minutes and show what it looks like. I'll probably just keep on doing it like that. I have tried to set the miniature onto a painting handle. It keeps falling off. I tried to glue it to a tongue depressor. It fell off. So I'm reduced to holding, which means that what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it in two parts. I'm going to paint the top half, and then I will varnish that, and then I'll paint the bottom half. So I'm focusing only on the top half, which is just because I need to use this as a handle, which is a bit of a pain, but it's okay. So I'm going to work on the top of the mushroom tonight. So let's see how that goes. Well, that was a fun, just a little bit more than 20 minutes. I wanted to basically finish all the purple so that I can come in and do the other colour tomorrow evening. Obviously, if the purple was at least any wet at all, then it would run when I apply the other colour, which is going to be a nice strong yellow. I think moon yellow is what I'm thinking, but you'll find out about that in the next clip. So that was fun. Good to get back to the painting desk. I've been a bit hit and miss, but it's nice to be back and doing 20 minutes and getting this done for Paint All the Minis Discord challenge as well. Is always good fun, and it's hopefully might be the second month in a row that I actually get something entered and not just started and then just kind of meh off, which actually over here I have one that I did start and kind of meh off, and it's still there. I need to finish that. Maybe that'll be the project after I complete this mushroom moment. So the next morning, and this is with two of the metal uprights done with the milliput, and then the other one just supporting it, and it's working. Which is amazing. I didn't think it would. Now I'm going to zoom in right and underneath. You can see there's a little dot as milliput there. I put that as a backstop behind this bottom rib, behind the dorsal fin, and that's working really well as well. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is, and you can see it's balanced, I'm not touching it. What I'm probably going to end up doing is putting a little bit of milliput around the base of each of these uprights, just in the same way, because that will hold it better. They're not actually very well held, but they can still rotate the metal, but that's fine because it's going to make it easier for me to fit, and then when I'm glued in place I can add some more stuff. But I mean, I'm just so pleased that it is actually supporting the weight and it's actually relatively stable, though I am also stood here panicking it's going to fall over. So I will put another metal upright at the back here, I think, to attach to the back fin, and then that'll be 4 points, and I think that should then be enough, and then I can move on to the dinosaur. That was amazing. I can't believe it worked. I'm so pleased. There's some clipping and trimming and what have you I need to do, and I'll probably end up as well, once I've got it in place, painting the metal so that it's a bit more hidden. But yeah, I'm rambling a bit because I'm a bit excited and I'm a bit shocked. It works. Yay! A little bit more progress on this. I've managed to get the dinosaur pretty much in place. It's still very kind of iffy and scary, and I'm terrified of touching it, but that's roughly in the position I want it now. I did try to use, and unfortunately I've cut, which is a shame, I did try to use some plastic kind of like straws, but they're just not strong enough. I could potentially have used the straw and found a thinner bit of wood to go inside to support the straw, to give it a bit more rigidity, because that was the problem, but I think this is going to be fine. This is a barbecue skewer, and it actually ended up being the same 3mm as I needed. So this is just all currently still balanced. There's no glue involved yet, which is incredible, but it's looking great. I mean, the movement is perfect. I can potentially make use of a little bit of a bend here, or maybe change my drill hole to give a little bit more angle. As you can see, there is some play. That's probably more likely how I'm going to do it. So what we're looking at is the ship has, the dinosaur has dived and now is trying to pull up to get away. And what this is now going to do, I'm going to think a little bit longer, but I'm really, really close. What this is probably going to do, I'm going to glue in place what I've got now. I'm going to paint the wood. I'm going to work out where I want to cut this, but try to glue everything in place so that this is a bit safer. And then if I need to add more support, I can. I'm looking and wondering whether I might add a couple more wire supports to the boat. I want it to be really strong. This with a single one is fine, but I'm going to need to paint these and hide these, and then what I can do is I can start to put in place the pterodactyl attacks. Now the backdrop I'm going to attach to the back of the shelf, so I'm probably going to stick it to some XPS and then attach that to the back of the shelf, because I'm going to make use of the whole depth, I think. So that's the other thing that's been decided while I've been playing with this. But yeah, pretty excited. I've done this just in a couple of minutes I've had through the day, and yeah, really excited to see it coming together and actually looking like something. I'm amazed. It's a good fun project, this. Really stretching me. Pretty happy with how this has held up. I've actually left that like that all afternoon, and it's not moved at all, so it looks like it's a pretty stable setup, which is good. And I'm happy with the actual arrangement, the angles. So what I'm going to do now, I've decided the next step that I'm going to do is I have some milliput that I've just mixed up, and I'm going to very carefully go in and put it around the base of each of these metal here, and probably also glue in place this wood with some wood glue, and build up around it with the milliput as well. And then I will put the boat and the dinosaur back on top once I've done that, position it exactly how I want it, and then leave it overnight. Because then when I take the ship off and the dinosaur off in the morning, it'll be they'll be completely held in place exactly how I want them to, and that will mean that it'll be easier for me then to do any more supports, because I do think I want to drill another support. So I might even do that this evening as well. There's at least one more support I want to put in. So yeah, I'm going to get that done. I'm not going to film it because it's going to be very fiddly, and I'll be getting in the way of the camera and probably saying things I don't like to say on this channel, using language I won't put on this channel. But I'll bring it back when it's all done and when I'm setting it up overnight, show you what it looks like, and then hopefully this will continue working, because it's working all right so far. So far so good. I've done that. What I've ended up doing is putting some PVA at the base of the wooden stick. I've not built up around it yet, but I can do that. And then I've built up around each of the 4 metal supports that I've done, and then I've set the whole thing at roughly the angle I want it. And now I'm going to be very careful and work around it and leave it overnight. I've got a few bits and pieces I'm hoping to do, but I'll have to go up that end of the bench and leave this here. I've not actually positioned it very well. It's right where I normally work, but never mind. That's fine. So yeah, hopefully this is going to be successful, and tomorrow I can take the items off. I'll have the metal in exactly the position I need, and then I can shape this one here to potentially accept one of the other flying creatures. I could potentially glue this one on here, and then have the jumping person jumping off of a pterodactyl, but I'll play around with that once this is all dried, when I'm not going to be scared of touching it. So yeah, progress is good. I briefly got my printer working again. It's not working again now, but in the brief time it was working, I managed to get the wing printed out for this, which is awesome. So what I'm going to do now is glue it in place, and I still need to do the engine which goes on this wing, obviously. That's the bit that failed to print. I'm going to try it again tonight, but yeah, a bit annoying. But what I'm going to do now, just stick that in place, and then this whole large area is pretty much ready for painting, which is pretty exciting. So I'm probably going to clamp that, go and get some clamps, put a clamp here, a clamp there, and then leave that overnight, and then maybe either start painting it or wait until, well, I'll probably start painting it if the other piece prints correctly. I did actually also print out, like I said I was going to, a couple more of the guns and what have you, so I've got these as well. So yeah, I think once I've printed out the engine, which is going to go on this side, then I'm good to go, and I can start painting and then working out a diorama base for it, which is really exciting. So yeah, hopefully my printer gets better. It's yeah, a bit annoying, but there'll be another video all about that, so watch out for that. I'm enjoying painting this miniature. This evening I put moon yellow on it, if that's going to focus, and I'm very pleased with how that's coming out. Really, I'm very pleased. There it is. It's very, very lovely. So I came across a few bits and pieces of purple that I've missed, which I'll touch up tomorrow. But yeah, that's got a really, really good start. And I enjoyed that a lot. It took me just under 20 minutes to do the yellow, and that's a good thing as well. So I didn't have to go over. Yesterday, like I said, I went over about 3 or 4 minutes to do the purple. So yeah, pretty pleased. So that can dry overnight. And then tomorrow I'll get back to it and finish the little bits of the purple I've missed, and have a think about what next to do, because I'm not sure what to do next. I might go back to the skin and try and make that a little bit more interesting rather than just single tone, which it is at the moment. But yeah, really enjoying painting this miniature. It's a lot of fun. I've left this 24 hours, so it should be nicely set. The stick was just done with PVA, and that pulls off nicely, and that's pretty solid. I mean, this isn't trying to be structural as such, it just wants to support it and then go on the shelf and, you know, just make it look nice. So that's strong enough. This, I'm really impressed that this has stayed so well. So if I lift that straight off, you can see the 4 wires that I've put in so far, and they're pretty nicely done. So what I need to do now, what I'm going to do now, is think about where these are going to go, whether I'm going to attach any other of the pterodactyl to maybe to this one. Probably take off the masking tape and clip these where they're not going to be they're a little bit too long. This one is still rotating, but that's fine because I actually wanted that to rotate, so I'm pleased about that because I want to rotate it into the edge of the boat and glue it in place. Now I have another to drill in and stick in there, which I'm going to do, and Angela was saying, and she might be right, that I might want to put a few more in. So that's my task now. Now that I have those 4 in place that are you know, good enough, they're going to support the ship well enough, and then once I've got those all glued and secured in exactly the same way, so I'll leave it again overnight. I won't leave it right here, which is directly in my hobby area. I'll put it somewhere else. Then I will start to arrange the pterodactyl properly, and then that'll be more drilling and more of the same, and then when everything is done, I will then be able to paint it and then start working on the clouds underneath, and also look to attach the backdrop. It's going well. I'm shocked, but it's going well. So let's see what I can get done this evening or tomorrow, but let's see what I get done in the next steps. As I say, putting a few more supports in for the ship and then working out where the pterodactyl will go. That's what I'm going to do now. Onwards. It's the return of shaky cam because it's going to be easier for me to show what I've done. So as you can see, I'm starting to really build the story, and if you think that you're supposed to view it from down here, you can see that I've got low down, we've got the person at the back here who is actually pointing in the wrong direction. We'll be flying towards, that's rotated slightly. So the idea here is roughly that. So that one's coming along and taking a pot shot, maybe should actually also be slightly coming up. Sorry, bad camera work. But something a bit more like that, so that the path of that they're sighting down is going to be towards the bows of the ship. Then we've got this one here who is also rotated. They're all nothing's glued yet, but this one here is going to be looking across, and the falling person is going to be down here. So it'll be like they've just shot an arrow, and the person that they've shot is over here coming off the boat. And then we have this one that is in completely the wrong angle. We'll be flying at a much like at an angle like this, and then jumping off of that one, we have the jumping one. So that will be not focusing at all. There we are. She will be jumping off of that pterodactyl. So another thing that I did is I found a smaller drill bit, which has made this a lot better. So I've actually got the correct size drill bit now for the wire I'm using. So I need to have less, a smaller, monstrous great big filler, which I'm going to have to paint. But yeah, pretty much happy with where everything is now. The last thing that I need to do in terms of drilling is work out where the falling person is going to go. I think that's going to be quite an easy one, like I say. And then what I'll be able to do is paint the base again, another coat of black, which will cover up and paint all of the bits of wire. I need to glue the wire in, and then I need to do that, and then I'll start building up the clouds. But yeah, slowly getting there. Quite pleased. Are you helping Daddy again? You're doing very well. Look at that. I'm very impressed. Right, rotate the brush a little bit, that's it. And then you get more paint. Very good girl, well done. Hee hee. Good girl. Good girl, love. This evening was a very basic task, but it took a few minutes. But basically, I put a red dot in the middle of every single little yellow square. And I also painted her lips. But that was it. So other than that, I did a few things in my 20 minutes, but that's all I got done on this. Still very, very pleased with how it's looking. I think that probably next I'm going to varnish, and then I'll be able to start on the bottom half. So I'll probably varnish that tomorrow morning, let that dry overday, and then tomorrow evening I can get started on the next section. Today has been a very exciting delivery day. Now, as regular viewers will know, I have regular exciting delivery days, but not many have lived up to today. So you're about to see. First of all, we have this awesome long package with a load of tissue paper in, which is going to make a tremendous noise when I take it out. So I'll do that now. And inside, from Deep Cut Studio Game Mat, I have 1, 2, 3, 6 bags for either 4x4 or 6x4 mats, and 3 game mats, which I will do a proper look at another time. But first of all, we have a kind of hellscape, which is going to be really good for Mordor, for SBG. That was my idea there. Then we have a kind of rough ground one, from the looks of it. Can't remember what I ordered. I ordered these quite a while ago. Yeah. And finally we have a town map, which is going to be really good. So those 3 are for SBG, obviously, and any other game I want to do, but specifically for SBG. I'll pop them out on the table and get some proper footage another time, but that's as far as I'm going to go for now, because I've got more things to show you, and I don't want this vlog to turn into just me showing off stuff I've bought. So we'll have a look at those in detail in a separate video, not part of the vlog. So I'll clear that away and we'll bring up the next box. I don't really need to say much more, do I? My Saturn arrived. So 3D printing has been tough the last few weeks. My Mars has been playing up a bit. I had a power cut, it caused some issues. And since then I've not been able to get very reliable prints out of it. It's printed a few times, but mostly it's failed. Whether that's to do with the file or not, I'm not sure. Still working it through. But when I thought that maybe it was going to take a long time for me to get that resolved, I decided to pull the trigger on this because there was a sale on Amazon, and I went for it. So I have the Saturn. and because the magnetic sheets make such a quality of life difference, I ordered the correct magnetic sheets, and because of me being me, I also ordered some extra FEP. I ordered a replacement panel, LCD panel, because having spares in is always important, and I have also got a second resin tank. So should anything break, I should have, normal stuff break, not inside it, I should have spares so that I can then continue operating it. So again, I'm not going to completely unbox this as part of this video. I'll do that as a separate video, which will not be part of the vlog, but I'm very pleased to have this. I'm probably not going to unbox it tonight because I'm very, very tired, which is very ironic. I really want to get it going, but I want to be awake and not be quite so exhausted when I'm looking at it. So yeah, so I'll do a proper unboxing. We'll have a look at this. I know it's an old bit of kit. I know everyone's got them. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people have got them, so it's not something new, but I've still got one. I'm still pretty excited myself. I'm looking forward to getting a print going on it and seeing what can come out of it. So that is really awesome. So I did have a few other bits and pieces arrive, but they aren't hobby-wise, so I'm not going to bother you with those. Really pleased to have the mats, and very, very pleased to have the new printer. So my idea for this is really simple. Will of the Gods. What I'm going to do is going to be fitting in with the same one I did last month, which was obviously Rosie's Cafe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a crater in the middle of this one. I'm going to sculpt that crater out of milliput, and then I'm going to put the kind of cobblestoned roller around the edge, and I'm going to have an unexploded bomb. So it's not going to be a big crater, it's just going to be a kinetic crater rather than an explosion crater, and it's going to have an unexploded bomb in it with a little bit of steam coming out of it, and that's going to be it. It's a super simple idea, but the way my life is at the moment, super simple is good. So yeah, so we're going to use milliput to do the sculpting. I'm getting more and more confident with milliput to the extent that I've actually ordered a load more. This was the first pack I ever bought, and I wasn't totally sure about it. I prefer it a lot to green stuff, so I ordered some more, which is good. That'll be coming soon, hopefully. So yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm going to use a relatively large amount. Often with milliput you end up using too much, and that's what I find with all these things. You end up wasting quite a lot, which I don't like. But yeah, so I've had this for a while, as you can tell from the discoloration. So what you do is you get roughly the same amount of equal proportions, or it should be exactly. And I always use water because it just makes it a lot easier. And then what you're looking at doing is squishing and smushing it together, and like I say, I put lots of water in it. Makes it a lot easier to blend. And what you want to do, and it says 5 minutes, which could be right, so I might stop the camera. Could be a bit boring, watch me do this, but basically what you're looking at doing is getting rid of all of the merging the two colours together, so there's no smears, no stripes, and it's all one colour. So it's a bit dirty, it's a bit of a messy process, which is always fun. So I'll get this done. I might even need more. And then when that's all fully smushed, I'll bring it back and we'll show you the next step. So we have our kneaded milliput, which didn't take all that much longer, to be honest. And it's a good one to work with. It's nice to work with. I find it easier than the green stuff, just because it's actually easier to push around, and the green stuff can quite often end up being really annoying because it always has that kind of, because they're stored next to each other, it always has that little hard bit which then gets in the way and really annoys you. So here we are. I mean, this is not going to be very hard to do. There is a little kind of like crater, as simple as that. It took me how long? 39 seconds since I started recording this clip. So we're going to do that, and we're going to let that dry, and then the next thing that we'll do is we'll put the cobblestones on it, and then I will have a look at and also have a look at what bomb I'm going to use, which might come from the 3D printer, I think, thinking about it. So yeah, that's probably the thing I'm going to do, and then it'll be painting, and then it'll be done. So a nice simple build, but I think it should be a really nice little addition to my terrain, and also it does fit in with the theme, so that's what matters. It's taking part that counts. So onwards. Well, it's still very wet, but here you can see what I've done when it focuses. So what I've done is I've put a purple wash, which was the Valkerie violet, onto the stone bit of her base, of her bottom bit, and then on this side, what we've got looks very, very boring at the moment. It is a mix of moon yellow, metallic medium, and satin medium, and then the glow pigments from Green Stuff World, the yellow one. So this will glow in the dark, that yellow. And I've got a few more bits and pieces I want to do to that. It's a bit dull when it's not dark, but yeah, I'm getting on there. I didn't actually do the varnishing of the top half, so I've just been holding it and hoping I don't rub it off. I just been too busy at work and didn't get around to it. But yeah, there we are, bit of progress. Another 20 minutes and a few other bits and pieces done on tanks and what have you. But yeah, pretty pleased with how this is coming on. I'm really enjoying painting this. I managed to find myself an ideal unexploded bomb on Thingiverse, I think. I don't remember to put the link to the file in the description below, but if you search for unexploded bomb, it's pretty much the only result. So that's going to absolutely work perfectly. I've trimmed the base a little bit, very small amount, but funnily enough, it actually is lining up quite nicely with my milliput base. Now what I did realise I should probably have done is thought about this, which is a theme, and probably thought a bit more about maybe some utilities and things that I might want to have coming out of the ground, so pipes, what have you, but it's too late now. I'm cracking on with this anyway, so just going to glue this in place with some PVA, and then when that's done we'll come along with the roller and put the put the rest of the cobblestones on and up to here and work out how we're going to do the destroyed area, and then I'll paint it. So yeah, it's cracking on well. It's very, very early on Saturday morning, and I've got another week to go, so I've still got time to do it. Such a simple build, but yeah, I need a simple build this month. My kit arrived, which I'm going to be using for this challenge for the TCU. The theme being a long way from home, and or something along those lines anyway. And wouldn't you think that the Voyager spacecraft, isn't that the most distant man-made object? So I think that pretty much is relevant. So yeah, I've ordered this. I've ordered another model as well, actually, which is not going to come in time. I do love space and I love all this stuff, so having two isn't a problem. But this has arrived and I'm wondering whether I'm going to be competent enough to do this. It looks very, very detailed. But we shall see. So I will be turning the camera on when I'm making this, when I am awake enough. Most of the challenge is going to be not throwing it across the room. I mean, it's very, very detailed. I've not even got the confidence up to open the packet yet. So once I come to it, I'll turn the camera on, but I'm very pleased that it arrived, and that I can get a start on this when I get to it. What I'll be doing is making this kit, and then I will be placing it into a diorama. So and that should be quite a challenge. I've learned a lot about suspending models. I think this probably will be a fishing line job rather than metal uprights. But yeah, it's another one where I'm trying to go 3D and in negative space, which is always going to be a challenge. So yeah, so let's see how much fun this is, or how much frustration it is. 2 F words, it could be both. It's taken me all week to get this done, mainly because of being slightly busy at times and just leaving it for ages to dry. I put on the final bit of the air dry clay on this last night. You can see it's still a little bit wet over here, a little bit moist, so it still needs to go off a bit. But this one, the big one, has definitely finished pretty much, and I'm probably going to be able to start painting and then cut that out. So I'm going to do that. I'll be doing exactly the same technique, so I'll paint it black, let it dry, and then grey, and then finally do maybe a little bit of an overbrush over the whole thing. I'll probably put some more rubble on as well, so I might do that before I paint. I might glue some rubble on just in places, and then when I come to do this, I'll do the same. So we've got some quite big steps here that I could probably do with having some rubble and other things against them, but I'll do that when this air dry clay is fully dried. But yeah, it's worked really well. There's no warp on them now, and I think they actually look better than they did. I actually think I've improved them with this recovery, which is always nice. So yeah, so probably the next time I'll show these will be when they're done, and I'll talk through how I went about with the rubble, but they're pretty much saved. That's how I went about saving a pretty dramatic warp. Certainly on this one was very dramatic, and I think that they've come out looking really, really nice. Well, there we are. An interesting week, a fun week, and a varied week, and it's really good to be slowly but surely drifting back into my usual habits of hobbying a very small amount very regularly throughout the day. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you think, if anything inspired you. I really, really love to hear from all of you. It really does keep me going, encourages me to keep making videos. So yeah, I love reading those comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.